Good takers, welcome back to the first take. A little something different today. It's a request from an Asif Khan who wanted me to check out biggest snake ever. 195 foot, analyzed and confirmed. Not what I usually react to. Usually it's just films and shit, but that sounds interesting. So let's get into this and see if it intrigues.
A monstrous snake, nearly the size of a football field, is captured on film as it rears back to attack a helicopter flying by. But could anything that big really exist? Follow my in-depth analysis, and by the end of this video, try asking yourself that question again.
That's fucking bullshit. I'm gonna keep an open mind. We shall see.
Humanity is familiar with some pretty big snakes, both in person and in fossil records, and sometimes through photographic evidence by reliable witnesses. During World War II, Belgian fighter ace and squadron leader Remy van Lierde rose to the rank of colonel in the British Royal Air Force and received the Distinguished Flying Cross Medal of Valor after shooting down 6 enemy aircraft and 44 V-1 flying bombers. After the war, he was put in command of the Kamina Air Base in the Katanga region of what was then the Belgian Congo. His reputation and spatial recognition abilities are impeccable, which means we must give careful consideration to this incredible report. One day in Africa in 1959, on the way back to the airbase from a helicopter mission, Colonel Lierde was astounded to see a massive snake winding its way along the terrain below. He circled around for a better look and had one of his flight crew take a series of photographs. As he descended to about 500 feet in altitude, the gigantic snake took notice and reared back as though ready to strike at the helicopter if it dared to come within range. By his own estimate, Colonel Lierde guesses that the snake must have been a minimum of 50 feet in length, with a triangular-shaped jaw about 2 to 3 feet wide. In his own words, quote, "It could have easily eaten up a man," unquote. Keep in mind that a reticulated python is the longest snake ever measured alive at 33 feet or 10 meters in length. The longest measured known extinct snake is the Titanoboa, which was 42 feet or about 13 meters in length.
Wow.
After, quote, "countless reports from the Kamina area of giant snakes," unquote, the original photos were sent to CIA Captain Lorenzo W. Burroughs, director of the National Photographic Interpretation Center, for some further analysis of the photo. Let's look at that. Here is the full photo in its entirety. As you can see at the bottom, the type of camera the photo was taken with was recorded, which adds some authenticity to this photo. Probably the most important thing about this photo, though, as highlighted by the letter, are the termite nests, which is a little confusing at first unless you know what an African termite nest looks like. African termite nests look like this. They're absolutely huge, and they take on recognizable shapes. The letter reads, quote, "Further, the 2 black spots in the upper left-hand quadrant are quite plainly termite nests, or rather, they're shadows. Under high power you can very easily see this, and that the top one is a column, circular in the horizontal section, while the bottom one is typical of the flange types that always point north to south," unquote. See the termite nests? Now remember how big they are? Let's use them, as is done in the letter, to approximate a scale of reference. These termite mounds can easily be 2.5 times the size of a human. So we'll say the top termite nest is 15 feet, or about 4.5 meters tall. Now this is a bit of a guess, but if the snake was fully stretched out, I'd say it'd be around this long. So if we just stack our 15-foot or 4.5 meter termite nests next to this line, we'd get about 13 of them. This yields a rough approximate total length of about 195 feet, or about 60 meters, and closely matches what the letter says of about 200 feet. That's up to 5 times larger than even the Titanoboa, allegedly the biggest snake ever, and that was thought to have gone extinct shortly after the dinosaurs. What sort of monster did Colonel Remy Van Leert encounter and photograph here? And why are there so many other alleged reports of massive snakes by others in the same area? The Congo seems like a very, very scary place.
That's crazy, but then you have to think of up until, I'm probably wrong with the dates by a decade or so, but I think even mountain gorillas were considered a myth up until maybe the 40s or 50s or something like that, or even a little while before that, maybe around the Victorian age. But they were considered a myth for the longest time up until modern history. You know, it wasn't, the locals knew they were there. They were like, yeah, these big ass fucking monkeys up in the jungles. Yeah, they're over there. But, you know, in the West, it was like, nah, that's bullshit. That can't exist, until explorers finally came across them and hunters, you know, eventually started fucking shooting them and shit. All myths come from a place of reality, usually, you know, a real animal that few people know about and few people see, and they tell their stories, and people who have never seen the animal hear the stories and just think, yeah, it can't be real. That shit can't really exist, but it usually starts somewhere that they did. And it's not hard to imagine that maybe every now and again you get these mutated versions of an animal. Everything has a mutation. Now, even humans have mutations where you get people that grow to like 8 foot tall, considering the average height of a human is like 5'10", 5'11", up to 6 foot. But then you get these people that go way beyond that every once in a while. It's just like a genetic glitch, like happens like a little glitch in the matrix, you know? So animals can have that too. You know, we've all seen pictures of snakes with 2 heads or goats with 2 heads, and, you know, that shit happens. So maybe this snake is a glitch, mutated glitch that did exist. Or even if it was somehow related to that prehistoric snake that went out. You think that sometimes DNA can stick around in random bloodlines, but, you know, I'm just kind of just splurting out conjecture, you know. We're just kind of, this can be anything. It could all be bullshit. We could all be sitting there and it can be like fucking Loch Ness. So what do you guys think? Do you believe it, or do you think this is just bullshit? And do you think there are still animals out there? I'm talking mammals, you know, like large animals, not just, we know that there are still thousands of, if not millions of different types of insects that still exist out in jungles that have never been found. And plants, you know, that's always being found. They're always finding new shit. But I'm talking about full-on large ass animals that, you know, people have never seen. Do you think they're still out there? Do you think there's still corners of the world that these things can still exist? Let me know. Write comments down below. If you like the video, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. I'm Eddie Reese, and this has been my mysterious first take.